What is going on, you guys? Today I have another super quick episode. So we're going to be reviewing a YouTuber named Jack Hopkins, and the video title is Instructions for a Better Life. Let's get into it.
You should build your life so that you enjoy it, because life as a man, the fundamentals are that it's about improvement, about growth, about getting better in all areas of your life. And that comes from you actually sitting down and planning your life on finding out what you actually want and then designing it, because what we plan for is what happens. Where we put our attention is what grows, and everything else gets lost. And the problem for most people is they spend their whole life that way. They spend their whole life never focused on what they want, just in the day-to-day activities, like they're working in their life rather than working on their life. The same thing happens in business. You work in your business and it doesn't grow. As a manager, as the CEO, you have to be working on your business and planning for the future. That's the key of your job, and that's what this video is about. This video is to give you a plan to help you take a more active approach in actually building a life you enjoy to live. And I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Thailand, and now live in Dubai. I've tried loads of different methods, and these are the things that work for me. First one I want to start with is productivity, and how I set up my life to focus on enjoyment and focus on growth and productivity, and how I actually schedule things into a very busy life so that I still enjoy myself, so I get the things done that I want to do to make my life better. But at the same time, I also enjoy the journey as I'm on it, because that's all that we get. You have to enjoy the ride, otherwise you'll look back on your life and think, fuck, where did all the time go? Why was I always working to get somewhere and not join where I am now? So first thing I'm going to do is show you my productivity life system, possibly the greatest system ever invented for managing a man's life, if you're like me and not very good at organization. So I'll bring up on screen how I manage my life through my phone, and you'll be able to see how I do it. I use an app called Things 3. Things 3 is like your notes app, but on steroids. And Things 3 allows me to use widgets. Widgets are those little things you can put on your iPhone home screen. So I use these widgets on my home screen to build out my life, basically. And at the top of my home screen, I have my calendar. And this ensures that I'm not forgetting anything important related to work and other things going on in my life. I then have underneath 2 different notes apps widgets from Things 3. The first widget is things that need to be done today to move my life forwards, and the next one is upcoming things. And if you press this plus button down here, then you get straight into what's called the inbox. So any notes you want to take through the day, you can basically go in there, put your notes, your ideas in, and then you can schedule them into whatever area of your life those notes are meant to go into. So you've got loads of different areas. In mine, I've got set up working on my business, my personal goals, things for YouTube, video ideas, and you just got one place so you can click the plus, put a note in, go in later, organize it, schedule it in a calendar, and that's what helps me move the needle. This is the first fundamental before we go into the more complex.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. Like, there's a quote that I've heard, and it was like, show me your calendar and I'll show you your future. So like a lot of guys will say like, oh, like have a tough time getting things done, I don't have enough time. And then you can like open their calendar and see like they're not scheduling anything, and they're just kind of like floating about their day, or like they spend a bunch of time on like, you know, video games, Netflix, social media, rather than, you know, like working on, you know, being self-employed, like starting their own business, whether it's just them, right? Because that's one important thing to remember here is, you know, it doesn't have to be a big business. You could literally be the only employee of your business mowing lawns or something, right? Just self-employing and starting up a venture so that you can start creating financial freedom, right? So I like what he's saying, like scheduling things into your calendar, and also the other thing about tasks that need to be done today, and then tasks that can wait, right? Because you need to come up with like what's, let's say, the most urgent tasks, or if they're not urgent, at least the ones that you should get done first, because they're like the biggest one, the ones you've been procrastinating or avoiding. It's called eating the frog, because you don't want to eat the frog, so you do that one first. And you should do that first every day, by the way, like the hardest thing first, so basically the rest of your day is easier.
Exciting life setup stuff, you have to have the basics under control. If you can't manage your time to get things done, you'll never get anywhere. But with a planner like this, managing your life becomes way easier, and you feel like you're making progress. And when we feel like that as men, we actually become way happier. If we feel like we're making progress in areas of our life, we feel happy. If we're not making progress, then we start to feel depressed. And that's the key to a life setup, is to consistently make progress and improve your life, and improve it for the long run rather than the short run, and do things that can...
Well, I like that too, because it's like if you're not consistent, usually you stop trusting yourself if you're not consistent in your progress, like because you keep kind of breaking your promises to yourself about the things that you want to be doing, right? Going to the gym, working on your business or whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you keep not doing that, saying you're going to do it, right, you're not going to trust yourself. It's just like if you had a friend who always showed up late or was like, oh, actually I can't make it today, right, and you made plans with him. Eventually you would just stop inviting that friend out, right? So you're basically doing that to yourself when you stop being consistent on things that you want.
Done consistently over time. Now, the reason why we do all of this is because most people want a life of freedom. Nearly everyone I talk to, every guy I talk to, guys inside of our network, the New Elite, and myself personally, want to have freedom in our lives. Now, the freedom actually comes from the discipline to plan. The ability to plan your days, the ability to stick to a schedule. That's where freedom is born. Freedom is not being able to do whatever you want. I can guarantee you right now, you don't actually want to be able to do what you want all the time with no limits, because there's too much to choose from. You want to know what you enjoy, focus on certain things and improve on them, and follow a schedule. When you follow a schedule, your life takes on meaning. If you live life the right way, anything can be enjoyable. And if you think about the monks and the sort of samurai and ninja philosophies, is that you can sweep the floor 1,000 times a day and enjoy it. And the reason you enjoy it is because you have mastery. You take mastery and care and attention over the task that you're doing. And it's very hard to do that, very hard to enjoy that when you work too much. So what I choose to do instead, the way I've set my life up now, and I recommend you do the same if you work for yourself, is 4-hour work chunks through the day. 4 hours that are dedicated to my most important tasks, to the most important things in my life that I need to push the needle forwards on. And whilst I'm locked in on that 4 hours, I do the work to the best of my ability. I take pride in the work. I take pride in the process of building something good. You have to try and set up a life that you can do forever. A life that you genuinely enjoy. Because if you are working, and I've done it, man, over and over again, I've done it. If you're working 15-hour days, 14-hour days, even 10-hour days, you will get burnt out in the end. There's not enough nicotine and caffeine in the world to keep you on your grind for 10-hour days consistently. And what I found is when work's done in these sprints, which occasionally you need, but when work's done in these sprints, it normally comes with a period of burnout that you have to go and do something else, or you have to cool off, and it interrupts the flow. It interrupts the flow of how your life goes, and it stops you from making quality work over a longer period of time. Which leads me on to another productivity tip if you are building your own life setup and building.
Well, you want to get to the point where, like, you don't look back on your life. Like, you got older, and you're like, man, like, I had no control of my time. I fed someone else's dream instead of my own, right? So I like what he's saying, right? And I think that's probably where the 4-hour work week came from too, is like most of the productivity that you're going to get is going to come in 4 hours. Whether you do 2 chunks of that, like 4, take a little break for maybe like the gym and lunch, 4 again, right? Or maybe just get to the point where you can do 4 because you're running your own business or you're self-employed, right? So like you only need to work 4, right? And also something worth noting on top of that, right, is if you're able to break out of like the 9-to-5 thing, regardless, either way, it's funny about the calendar thing. You want to be able to schedule in things like your enjoyment as well, right? Like some people need to schedule in dates, right? Dates with their girlfriend, or even just dates like, I'm going to go on a date this day, or going to the beach on Saturday so I can have some chill time, recuperate, get my thoughts in order, do some grounding, right? Like maybe get into the water so you get my thoughts straight, walk on the beach, meditate a little bit, right? Having a moment of silence where there's no podcast, music, etc. Like actually scheduling some of these things in so they're basically non-negotiable. And I like what he was saying too about the freedom. Like you're not actually going to necessarily feel free if you're kind of like floating around your day, wandering, like there's no plan, right? So I like what he's saying, because you having the discipline to schedule your day how you want, that's the freedom that you're actually looking for, not the like, I don't have anything to do, like kind of like aimless or purposeless, like, what am I going to do today? I don't know, right? Like at the end of the day, you're going to want something like a purpose that will fulfill you in some way where you can, help provide value to others.
Your life and you work for yourself. get up, get dressed, get out the house to do your 4 hours morning work in the morning. If I stay in the house, if I stay in my underwear and try and do my work, and I'm just not focused, but if I make sure I get dressed, I put my suit of armor on, I make myself look presentable to the world, that's kind of a win for me in my head, and I get a little bit of confidence from that. Then I have my list to sit down and instantly start doing that was prepared the night before, sit and do that in a coffee shop where I can't get distracted. There's other people working in there, there's no one else to talk to that I know, and I just sit down and I do my work. So if you're working for yourself, as I imagine a lot of you are entrepreneurs that watch these kind of videos, make sure that you're getting out of the house. That's kind of the lesson 101 in productivity.
No, I love that actually, because whether you do it like getting out of the house, you get like a co-working space or go to a cafe, get some work done, right? You need to be able to do that because you're going to drive yourself crazy. Number one, if you're always doing your work inside and never go outside at all, right? This is the importance of like taking walks and going outside to do some work. Like it's like separating your home from where you do the work. Like, okay, I exited the house. Now I have to get this 4 hours or 8 hours of work done, right? Like it's like non-negotiable. And even like a funnier thing is like you still want to get outside regardless. So I'm not like encouraging you to stay inside. But this is why some people will like dedicate another room that's not their bedroom. Like you can have your office desk in your room next to your bed, but it would be better if you had it in a completely different room, or better that you just go out somewhere and do the work somewhere else. And that other thing you said I like a lot too, I forgot that I did that. I might not look like it right now. I don't have PJ bottoms on, but I used to do that as well, right? Like I would just dress like I was going out, and no matter what I did, like that was like the first thing I did in the morning was like dress like I was going out, and it would kind of get me in the groove of it. Like it would kind of like force me to go out. Like I got a nice shirt on, dressed nice, right? Did my hair, things like that. So basically, I was ready to go, and it sort of forced me to get out of my comfort zone, go do some work. And sometimes people will be like, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" It's like, yeah, going to do work now, right? Because I would be kind of making sure that I wasn't gonna stay home by doing that. Like you set yourself up for success by doing that.
It's taken me a long time to do, but get yourself out of the house and dressed and get ready to battle the world. If you want to go more into the productivity side of life setup, I highly recommend a few books, Effortless and Essentialism by Greg McKeown. They're the two books. Another great book that I highly recommend is The 4-Hour Work Week, which is, I can't do a 4-hour work week. It's not quite possible for me at this point, but I love the concept, and that's where I've kind of settled on a 4-hour work day as much as I can stick to it. But the 4-hour work week for this concept of life setup is really where it all began for me. Many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I first read that book when I was just a normal life, normal 9 to 5, and it really inspired the idea in me that I could build a life that was incredibly enjoyable, that I made more money in and worked less as something I liked than just sitting in a 9 to 5 office and feeling like my life was sort of slipping away from me. So that's another fantastic book to read. And the final book I'll give you, just put these down on a list, is by Ryan Holiday, and it's called Stillness is the Key. And it's about taking the anxiety of life away, because that's what we all feel, this anxiety, this rush through every day, this anxiety to get things done. And I love being productive, right? But at the same time, if you cannot learn to enjoy that productivity and the little things you do, you will be rushing all the way to the end of your life and realize there was no fulfillment at the end. You never reached this place you wanted to get to. The fulfillment that you're going to feel, that all the feelings you want to feel, you can feel them all right now. And that book, Stillness is the Key, was super helpful to me in figuring.
Yeah, so two things there. I love that last point that he was making. You want to create a life that you actually enjoy living, and you're not like constantly living in the past or the future, where there's like some fear or anxiety, right? The stress around those things. Because again, like your whole life's going to pass you by, and then you're not going to have lived your life actually, like been in the present. Like you've gone through it, but you won't have been present for your life. So you won't be able to have been as fulfilled, as happy, as peaceful, enjoyed the little moments, right? So, and a lot of people have that experience, right, where they get back later and they're like, man, like, what was I doing? All right, so this is the importance of being intentional, which leads me into that thing he was talking about. Like, he hasn't necessarily reached the 4-hour work week yet, but he has reached the 4-hour work day, right? I mean, obviously, like he left the UK, been working online in Thailand, in Dubai, right? So, the key behind what he's saying, right, is waking up to the idea that you can design a life that you're excited about and fulfilled with. And you don't have to do exactly what is the status quo, like what society, school, or parents, etc. tell us, right? Like you don't have to do a 9 to 5. You don't have to go to school, right? You don't have to, get the white picket fence in the marriage by this age. Maybe you want a fulfilling relationship, but again, start to learn to think for yourself and design the life you really want. Like, think about it. Like, do you actually want to be a doctor? Or is it because your parents want you to be a doctor? Right? Like, simple little things like that. Do you actually want to take out student loans? Do you actually want to get a loan or debt for a mortgage for a house? Do you actually want to finance a car and get into debt for that too? Maybe not. I don't know. But what I'm saying is you can design a life like what he's saying, right? It's like maybe you want to, in his example, right? Like you want to work online and you can work remotely from anywhere in the world, have financial freedom, stretch your dollar. Like if you go somewhere like, Latin America or Southeast Asia, or you can have your time freedom, right? So like you don't have to work at a specific hour of the day. So you could work in a different time zone rather than working in Asia and having to work US time zones, right? Like little things like that, like getting to the point where you've designed a blueprint for the lifestyle that you really want, the type of place you want to live, the type of girl you want to date, right? Like actually creating the vision. I recommend you write this all down, like a vision blueprint after this video. It's going to help you a lot. And then ask yourself, how does it feel to have that thing already? You're going to be like, this is awesome. Like you're excited about just even that emotion that you get from it. And it'll help you kind of get more clear.
Bring that out in my life. All right, the next section of life setup is health, because there is really no point in having any life setup if you can't enjoy it. Enjoying it is about being a strong and courageous man and feeling good and having high energy levels. And I'm going to run you through the systems I've built in my life to stay on track of health so you can put them into your life as well. Now, the first thing I got to mention is one of these bad boys. It's called a Whoop band. I didn't know about them until about 2 months ago. Thing's awesome. I built a community inside of the new Elite Mind network where we can all compete with each other basically on the scores that we get on this band. And this band tracks your sleep, tracks your amount of activity in a day, tracks your workouts, tracks your overall health. And it gives you a sort of gamified way to track and have accountability, especially if you're in a group like the new Elite, to compete with your brothers about your health. So a lot of people, they don't go to the gym, they don't become the best looking version of themselves, they don't get in the best physique they could get because they don't really feel the reward. Fitness and health is something that rewards you over the long term. You do it every day and don't see results, and then in 3 months time you look back and you're like, fuck, I've totally changed my physique. Whoop is a great way for the people that can't handle that and need some instant gratification. Whoop helps you win every day. It helps tell you that you've been a good boy. Well done, you've done a workout, you've got some sleep, and you've got a lot of energy now. And even for me, someone that's worked out for years, I enjoy it. I like the pat on the back. I like also competing with the guys in the new Elite and being the guy with the most strain or done the most work or get the most sleep. Bill, my business partner, is actually the king of sleep in our new Elite group. He's getting a crazy amount of sleep. But it's a really cool way for setting up your life, for setting up things in your life that make the good stuff easier. The good stuff is health and fitness. Now, the next thing you want to do, once you've got yourself a Whoop.
I love that because, again, it gamifies it, but also a lot of people benefit from small little wins. And sometimes you're not aware of the small little wins, right? So, it sounds like the Whoop will be like, hey, this is what you can improve on your sleep. Hey, awesome, you drank enough water today, you got enough steps in, you did enough cardio, your blood pressure is good. Like these kind of metrics where you can gamify it and be like, all right, like I won this today, this is something I can improve. So I definitely like that idea. It's kind of funny too because Hamza is another YouTuber. They know each other, and I'm pretty sure Hamza talked about like he got to the point where he was like obsessively tracking it. So that's important to watch out for too. Like he would get too anxious and obsessive about it, and I think he said he stopped using it for a little while because of that. But again, right, it can be a fun thing and help give you these small little wins. So I like that.
And is you need a program to follow. And I recommend you go to the gym 5 times a week. And I think you should go in the morning. I think it's an incredible way to set up your day. And when you're a busy guy and you're doing work and business, if you leave it till later, you're either tired or it can get pushed out the way. When you wake up early, you hit the gym, you feel like you've got a win under your belt. You build that confidence up. And then everything else, that hard phone call you've got to make, those sales calls you've got to jump on, that new decision you've got to make in a business, that video you've got to film, that all feels easier after you've got your first win of the day. And that's what the gym is all about, stacking those wins. And over the long run, if you just build that into your life 5 days a week with 2 days off, over time you will have a world-class physique. In terms of setting up your workouts and the way you track these things so that you actually find improvements, because there's absolutely no point in going to the gym every day, lifting exactly the same weight, never seeing any improvements, because you're just wasting time. So if you're going to go to the gym, you want to make sure you're going in there, you're getting the job done, and you're getting results. And there's 2 aspects to this. Number 1, you need a program. I've got free training programs, so you link them under this, do it 5 days a week, simple, done. Otherwise you can look into coaches and other training workouts and all that sort of stuff. But training is very, very simple. As long as you focus on building strength across the key lifts, you're going to increase your size. And the next thing you need to do, as with anything in life, or we're off-roading a bit now, as with anything in life, you need to track. You need to track what you're doing with your workouts. What you track is what you improve. And so you track every time you go to the gym, you track the weight that you lifted on a certain exercise, and the next time you go in the gym, you increase that weight. This is really a given, like you should be doing this shit, it's fucking simple. But it's surprising how few people actually do it. Even myself, sometimes I forget to track my weights. Those weights need to consistently go up. The next thing you want to do, in order to enjoy your life, in order to have a good life set up, in order to feel
No, I mean, that's really good. And it's good that he mentioned that like a lot of people don't track it. You want to do that, like what, whether you need a pencil and paper, or this, you want to type it in your notes app on your phone, or there's apps that do it, right? Like, number 1, like track, let's say you want to gain or lose weight, right? Track your calories, your macronutrients. There's free apps for that, right? And also, same thing for tracking your weights, right? Basically, you want to do progressive overload, which basically means like you did 50 pounds on your bench press the other day, now you want to do 55. Right, you did 200 pounds for the squat the other day. Now you want to do 205, right? Like each time, like getting a little bit better. Also, of course, focusing on your form, making sure you're not ego lifting, things like that. Not swinging the weights, right? But no, I like what he's saying there, because like that's a super key element to this, is tracking, and you can do that for like business and other things too.
You need to know what your testosterone levels are. If you have low testosterone, it'll be very difficult for you to live a competitive and powerful life, because you're running on empty. Testosterone is the fuel that makes hard work feel good. It is the fuel that makes us want to conquer. It's the fuel that makes us want to change our lives. What I recommend you do is get a very simple blood panel done, learn how to read your results, find out what your testosterone levels are. If you're anything under 1,000 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone, you should be looking for ways to increase that testosterone. There's a whole host of different ways. One of them is normally low vitamin D. 5,000 IUs of vitamin D per day will increase your testosterone levels. I've done a whole supplement super stack on this stuff that I give to the guys in the new elite as soon as they come in to the network to boost their testosterone, because it's the male life enjoyment hormone. And if you don't have it, you're fucking missing out. A super boost for testosterone is 4 eggs right before bed, about an hour before bed. You want to have 4 eggs every night. It's going to give you the cholesterol you need to build testosterone in the night. The next part of your health is sleep. Sleep is so incredibly important.
Yeah, well, sleep, I think he's going to say it, but sleep affects your testosterone. So if you're not getting enough sleep, or you keep changing the time that you're sleeping, even though you're getting 8 hours, because you're changing the time, that's messing with your testosterone too. And one thing I want to say too is it's a very common Western thing for people like to be like, oh, aren't eggs bad for you? Isn't butter bad for you? No, it's not bad for you. I mean, like, sure, maybe you could say like everything in moderation, right? But like cooking with butter instead of seed oils, eating eggs are good for you, right? There's healthy fats and healthy cholesterol. So don't let anyone like be like, oh, you don't want to eat those, right? It's like they're part of like an ultimate male health. So, don't do your research on this, right? But it's important for you to take care of your testosterone.
do not sleep enough over a long enough time frame, you will become depressed. Your body will work at far less than its capacity. Your brain will slow down. You'll be the equivalent of a drunk person every day with emotional instability. Sleep, there is a reason why our bodies have to sleep, and it's been made over years and fucking decades, millions and years of human evolution, that we have to sleep. So don't think that you can do 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night and hustle culture your fucking way through human biology, because I've tried it and you can't. You end up a complete wreck. What happens when you don't sleep is your willpower, your ability to make good decisions goes down.
Again, like, and hustle culture, like, all right, awesome, man, you're working hard. That's commendable. Again, I said this in a bunch of videos, but like, healthcare workers work overnight shifts or work too long. Construction workers work too long, and they don't get paid enough. Are they optimizing their health? Probably not, right? Especially like healthcare workers, like working overnight shifts. It's like ironic. I know they got to take care of the patients, but or like them working like 12, 16-hour shifts as a doctor. It's just like, again, like, you can brag about your hustle culture stuff all you want, but working harder isn't just the answer. You have to work smarter and figure out a way to create financial freedom that isn't destroying your health.
Whole life goes to shit. The more you sleep, 8 hours, I highly recommend. 7's still not quite enough for me. 8 solid hours of sleep on your whoop band, 8 actual hours of sleep. There's a lot of time where you maybe 8 hours in bed, you only got 6.5 hours of sleep, because we have small wake up periods in the night that we don't remember. But the whoop band remembers. So the whoop band, he's your messiah. He's your guider to better health and better power in your life. When you sleep more, your muscles build better. Your testosterone is made in the middle of the night. If you don't go to sleep till 4 a.m., you're missing your key window to make testosterone in your body. Your testosterone comes down. Your life goes to shit. All of that comes from sleep. Once you've got those things ticked off, you're training regularly, you're waking up early, you're getting 8 hours of sleep, you're eating a diet conducive to testosterone. Now you've got power in your life to go out there and build the ultimate life setup.
Awesome, you guys. Well, definitely some good points in this video. Hopefully you were able to take some value out of it, apply something to your own life to start improving 1% every day. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. You got this, bro.